Good morning. My name is Jessica Andrea Lopez, and I'm going to present my final research project related to Chapter 1, 2, and 3. Okay, to introduce this topic, this document research problem was created to find the challenges of educational institutions have in Colombia to face needs related to the research question of how to innovate, why to innovate practices in the classroom through the ICTs. Its planning evoke meaningful solutions, setting priorities and development that can transform education. Its principal individuals have each efforts to accomplish this proposal. Of course, the man has to be involved into the whole process of the project of implementing ICTs, and it's quite important the community, the whole educational community is involved related to teachers, administrative staff, students, and parents as well. It's very important to set targets of innovation that we can plan its innovation step by step, checking our priorities, finally focusing on the learn of globalization standards, where its implementation is checked, where technology is a great idea to improve digital the students into the digital area. Okay, related to chapter 1, a general background, as I said, the usage of ICTs is very important in education. It increases not only the access of information, but also the new competences for the students' future related to technology. The statement problems, it says that is a great and high competencies are implemented and required for schools when they're planning to enhance their standards to practice their commitment and the improvement in the ICTs is very important and is a key for the people working and the whole staff must to be engaged with this new implementation of ICTs. Research objectives in general, it says that innovate practices in the classroom through the use of ICTs. This is our general outcome. And of course, there are some specific targets that we need to apply, which is expanding teachers' knowledge, which is very important to have proper understanding and guarantee the needs of students' competences. It also, we have to go through the educational system and the community needs to innovate and participate in the future of the students. The learning competencies is very important to apply this knowledge in ICT into the educational field. The head of the department needs to engage towards some standards and guidelines. They have to apply and to follow some guidelines to guarantee the success of this implementation and accomplish the needs of our school or the society needs. Okay, to scope with the research, this project is necessary to explore different strategies. Educative institutions must to apply ICTs into the secondary schools. Students are going to innovate practices into the dynamic and that is strategies help teachers to involve and innovate meaningfully. Its limitations, of course, in the project, it carries different limitations. To have access of technology is very important. To have access of internet it's a key to implementation. The practices in the curriculum must be integrated into a dynamic and formal way to be capable to innovate properly. It is important to know technologies. It is important to have good connectivity, as I said. Another implication that this can have is cyberbullying, cyber attacks, plagiarism. Managing courses online is very important for teachers to be trained as well as students and parents as well. And its implementation strategies has to be throughout the process, not only at the beginning, but also through the whole process. Significance of this study, innovation ICTs must be aware of the competences, which is the key of globalization standard. The knowledge and its implementation is very important to progress. People need to be aware of its importance, of course, and as well, the implementation has to be um, implemented through some standards that the schools have to apply into the technology's new area. Mm, another view, my chapter 2, of course, the usage of technology and these tools is necessary. The educational system today must be updated We need to be careful when improving teaching methodologies, pedagogical perspectives to really have a good future of our dynamics in the school, and of course, having in mind the future of the society. ICT is a sociocultural management, and we need to set school into those aspects. Interpersonal relationships in the learning environment and reciprocally affected by new changes, of course. This is said by Solomon. To have a proper integration of ICTs of education, it's very important to have both technology and pedagogy addressing the whole curriculum for the school and its content. Of course, in an appropriate use of technology and education can have negative effects of consequences. This integration must be not only have an intelligent decision, but also schools have to be aware of every step they're taking, having in mind the social, cultural, and philosophy of the school as well. It's very important that its competencies are integrated into the participants and the learners as well. When I refer to learners, not only refer to students, but also parents and teachers as well, and the administrative staff is also involved into this innovation. Okay, a previous study said that the change of dynamic cost driven by the interpersonal relationships between these roles players. Similarly, this is said by Lim. Acknowledge the social and technical factors involve the ICT integration in the schools. ICT implementation is important to implement it into the environment. Implementing the ICT is very important to have well-trained teachers. Um, this has to be a strong key on a strong point in its implementation. And of course, it has to be very important to how it's the main subjects. There are subjects which needs more implementation of ICTs than others. All individuals, teachers, learners, parents, all participants together are learning as a whole community. So students have to interact each other not only with the teachers but also with parents and the whole school as well. Researchers need to take more contextual approach when studying the ICTs. Okay, they have to take into account considerations of the environment and sociocultural philosophy aspects of its implementation regarded to the school or the community they're willing to be implemented. Solutions can emerge, of course, during the process. There are different things that can happen, and only the school and its context is able to guarantee this good process of its implementation of ICTs. So it's very important that the school have in mind their own needs and philosophy. Um, as a research framework, during the school year has been called to innovate practices in the classroom, demanding methodologies integrating ICTs. So it has to be in favor also through the economy and to have a positive impact into the Colombian society. So its competences, as I said, for students is an advance a new world to constantly changing. Of course, technology is it's changing huge steps and every time is faster. So its implementation also has to be having in mind this type of changes according to the advance of its of ICTs. Okay, the incorporation information of technologies and communication in education system is presented by the UNESCO in 2003 and 2006. Okay, so basically it's very important that now the UNESCO have in mind this type of technologies into education, of course, because it's also can also guarantee its implementation in when we talk about new careers and its implementation in the new possibilities in professional aspects. So the initiative of this has 25 indicators, which is policy of ICT in education, technological structure and access, ICT and curriculum, education and teaching staff, learning processes, and learning outcomes. Okay, finally, a research hypothesis says that teachers in Colombia need to be trained. they need to apply its significant knowledge into the curriculum. But demand does not guarantee this deeply, because most of the times teachers are investing in their own education, and the most of the time the money they invest in this education is not the same as they get from the get when they get a job. Okay, so it's very important that the men and the schools as well have a good income to invest in teachers and into the implementation of ICTs in their classroom. So this properly implementation has to be flexible, has to be the mobility and creation of new types of professor portfolios, new ways to manage information, as well as the curriculum integrated, and of course critical integration of these demands intelligence decisions. And of course it's very important that to have in mind the contextualization of the school needs and competences. Okay, guys, so this is pretty much. Thank you very much.